We are so excited to be doing these weekly devotionals about divinely designed and asking the question, what person or what character in the Bible do you relate to most in this season? Now, often when we think about that, probably most of us maybe go David or Moses or Mary or one of the famous people in the Bible. My person that I relate to is coming from the Gospel of John and a person that Jesus interacted with. It's in John chapter 5. It says, "Now in Jerusalem by the sheep gate there is a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, which has 5 porticos. In these lay many invalids, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, 'Do you want to be made well?' The sick man answered him, 'Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. And while I'm making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me.'" Now, really quick pause there. So here we have this man whose greatest desire in his life is to be healed. And what would that look like? It would be to walk, and so that he could find value in and be part of a community again, and he would be able to flourish in his life. And so in verse 6, real quick, in verse 3, I think I love it. It's called "Many invalids lay here." I remember as a kid, I read that as invalids. And I thought, oh, that's interesting that these people that were lame, paralyzed, and blind, they were considered invalid. Where do we feel invalid in our life? Anyway, and so in verse 6, we have this man whose desires to find value, community, and flourish. And Jesus says, "Do you want to be made well?" The offer is made to him. Do you want to have value, community, and flourish, that to have that desire in your life fulfilled? And I love this man's answer. He says, "The sick man answered him, 'Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. And while I am making my way, someone else jumps down ahead of me.'" He didn't even answer the question. He just gave excuses. When I try to do it on my own, I can't make it. If someone tries to help me, someone else always beats me to it. And I just think in our own life, like, what are the excuses that I make? When I think about wanting my ultimate desires of being in relationship with Jesus and having human flourishing, what are the excuses that I make that keep me from experiencing that? There was about 6 months ago, I was going through some stuff in my life, just kind of personal, like I just kind of was in a funk. You know what that feels like, where I just felt like I wasn't connected with people, and I was lacking an opportunity to mentor young people and also be mentored myself. And I didn't feel like I was parenting well. There was a lot going on, and I was thinking about it. I was thinking about all this, and I was on a run, and I was listening to this podcast with this guy. They were interviewing Robert Putnam, who had written this book called Bowling Alone. And the host was saying all this. They were talking about being connected in community, and the host was saying, "This sounds great. All my friends, we want to be part of that. We want to be connected in community, but we feel like we work too much, or we feel like we just don't have time. We feel like there's other things going on. Like, what would you say to me and my friends?" And he said, "Well, when you think about it, we actually have more time. If you look at the research, we have more time, more disposable time than we've ever had in the history of our life. The only difference is that we spend all our time looking at a screen, and that we don't take the time to be in community." And I thought, at that moment on my run, I was like, I've been making too many excuses to not be in community with people, to not take a retreat, to not have time on my own, and to not commune with my God, to not find that value in that community and that human flourishing. And so, at that moment, I said, I want to do something different. And in verse 8, it says that after this guy gave all of his excuses, it said, Jesus said to him, "Stand up, take your mat and walk." And at once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and he begins to walk. I love that Jesus still offered him the healing and the flourishing that he wanted. He didn't say, well, because of all those excuses, I can't help you. Well, if you only try harder, or if you just believe. Jesus didn't say that. He said, okay, well, stand up, take up your mat, and walk. And I love that he gave that man the option, and the guy took him up on it. And so as I close our time, what excuses do you keep finding yourself relying on or going to? And are those excuses working for you? Are they really helping you? Or are you still paralyzed by them? And the second question is, what is your next step? No matter how big or how small, that you can take towards your own healing. See, Jesus offers us that healing, and he left a choice up to this man. Are you going to take it or not? And so may you take up your mat and walk, and may you find value, community, flourishing, whatever your heart's desire when it comes to your relationship with Jesus. May you find that today.